Good evening. My name is Anna Evans. I work with Show Me Christian County, which is an independent economic development organization that serves the communities of Christian County, Missouri. I work with leaders among the private and the public sectors and have worked hand in hand with various elected bodies over several years, from aldermen to county commissioners to state representatives and more. We are happy to answer more questions if any of you have them, but I do have a few comments that I'd like to make about tonight and about the way that I'm going to go about the moderation process, and then we will hop in. So first of all, I want to thank each of you in the audience for your attendance and your participation. As citizens, it is our right, our responsibility, and our privilege to participate in the democratic process. So thank you for taking the time to carefully consider the candidates and the issues before you in this election. I also want to say thank you to the candidates who've dedicated their time to run for office. Holding elected office is complicated. It can be a thankless job. And if elected, the residents of Stone County are looking to you to listen to their concerns and priorities, to gather the facts, and use your best judgment to pursue responsible solutions that will have an effect beyond your time in office. Holding office is not to be taken lightly, and we applaud the candidates' willingness to step up to that challenge. I also want to express my appreciation for the organizations who've collaborated to host this event. Again, the Stone County Library, Table Rock Lake Chamber of Commerce, and Discover Crane. And I want to go over a little bit of some of our rules for tonight so everyone's on the same page and we all understand how the forum is going to proceed. So as the moderator, it's my responsibility to ensure that tonight's forum is fair and respectful for all involved. That includes the candidates and those attending as well. So that means that I will be following and enforcing a few of my own rules, and we will stay on time and on topic. The first one is that we're going to focus on questions that affect all or the majority of voters. So topics like candidates' priorities or their stances on certain issues are fine. It's not necessarily our priority to ask about very specific circumstances like, the pothole in your driveway or what have you, permitting decisions, things like that. We're talking about the majority of Stone County, so I want to keep us all on track. If we receive several questions that are basically the same topic, we will address that topic collectively instead of asking different versions of the same question over and over and over. I think that's fine just to keep us on track and moving forward. If we've already addressed a particular topic, we will move on to the next question, and we will also ask that the candidates' responses remain on topic to the question that was asked. We do have folks that are keeping time for us tonight in the interest of fairness and to keep the event moving forward. So we will be strict on time limits to ensure fairness and make sure that we hit on a variety of topics. If we hit a time limit while you are in the middle of a sentence that is making a new point, I will ask you to finish your sentence. I can also ask you to clarify a specific point or phrase if needed, like if you used an acronym that maybe not everyone understands or things like that, we can ask you to clarify that information. And then finally, in determining whether or not to ask a question that is submitted from the audience, I will be looking for a few specific things, and some of these we've already talked about. So one, relevance to the majority of voters across the county, questions that address a topic that we haven't covered yet, and also relevance to the job that the candidate is running for. So if you've submitted a question to the county clerk about a school district issue, that's not an area that they have decision-making authority over. So we're looking for questions that help demonstrate how the candidate would do the job that they're running for. Again, thank you so much for your participation. We do ask that you hold applause to the end to allow us to move forward. And I also want to mention that the evening will be recorded and will be posted to social media with no edits, just from beginning to end. So if you're looking for a recording of this meeting, that will be available. And thank you again for your participation. I am looking forward to a great evening, and let's go ahead and get started. Each candidate will have the opportunity to make a 2-minute opening statement. And that will be timed by our timers. We have signs for you that they will hold up when you have 30 seconds remaining, and they have signs that allow you to know there's 15 seconds remaining. We have a time's up sign, and then we've got a buzzer for when your time is up. Let's see. We will present the candidates in ballot order, which is determined by a draw at the county clerk's office. So the first candidate to give your 2-minute opening statement is Gordon Weathers, And what I would like to ask, hold on just a second, let me make sure I've got the right thing pulled up. Why are you the best candidate of, who you are, why you're running, and what unique perspective you would bring to this office? Mr. Weathers, you have 2 minutes.
My name is Gordon Weathers, and I'm currently filling the role as your appointed presiding commissioner. I was appointed to that position last September. It started out with the Republican Central Committee here in Stone County. I took 78% of the votes out of 5 people that night, went on to the governor's office. The governor interviewed all 5 people again, and then I was chosen by the governor. Then they did a background check on me, they did a financials check on me, and I was appointed to your presiding commissioner last September. I've been filling that role. I jumped in with both feet, ready to go, tackling some of the hardest things that we're facing Stone County right now. One was our planning and zoning. We're working on that reform now. I jumped in and worked really well, and still working really well with both of the commissioners. We're getting things done. We're moving Stone County forward. We're talking about a comprehensive plan in 2027. We're talking about a new comprehensive map. So we've got a lot of things going on at the county. I think one of the unique things that I'm bring to this job is I'm Stone County. Moved here in '97. I'm a father. I have children that were all born here in Stone County. And I love this town. And when I did this, I wanted to give a voice because I didn't feel like I had a voice. I lived here, I worked here, but I really didn't know a lot that was going on, and I didn't think I had a voice. So I did this to give the citizens of Stone County a voice. I did that by starting a coffee with the commissioner. But I really wanted to be your voice and be someone that's representing you in the county and bringing the information back out to you. And I feel like that's what I've done so far in the last 10 months, and I'd like to continue doing that.
On your podium.
Sure. You have 2 minutes.
Hi folks, my name's Doug Minton. I'm proud to call Stone County home for many years. My wife Brenda and I have been married 40 years. We've got 8 kids, 3 grandkids. We're down to the last couple at home, and so we'll see here eventually what an empty nest might feel like for a minute. I'm an Army veteran. I've worked in business management, marketing, sales, finance, and banking. And these are experiences that have taught me the value of sound financial management, strong leadership, and building relationships. I'm also honored to serve our community as a pastor, where I've had the privilege of helping people through life's challenges of bringing individuals together around common goals. I'm running for Stone County Presiding Commissioner because I believe this is the right time in my life to serve in this capacity. Our communities have many strengths, and I believe that we accomplish the most when we listen to each other, respect different perspectives, even when we don't agree, and work together to solve problems. So I'm ready to help build a stronger Stone County, not just for the people who live here today, but I want our young people to inherit a county that they can build their dreams and raise their families in without having to leave. I want them to see that grown men and women can work together and overcome differences and make decisions that benefit everyone. So in addition to my military, professional, and pastoral experience, I've also served in local government as an alderman for the city of Crane. Currently, I serve as a Public Works Board member, so I have firsthand experience in how local government works, from budgeting and personnel management to P&Z and public utilities. So I'd be honored to earn your trust and your vote as a Stone County Presiding Commissioner. Together,
Time's up.
We can build on the strengths of our communities, address the challenges before us, and leave Stone County stronger than we found it.
Thank you. Okay, I had a preview of some of the questions that were submitted, and I think we've got some good ones. I want to first, in ballot order, address Mr. Weathers. What is the single biggest challenge facing Stone County over the next 5 years, and how would you address it? You have 90 seconds.
I think the biggest thing facing us is, first off, is we're working on planning and zoning reform, and we have to plan for the future. We have to come up with that comprehensive plan like I talked about before, that comprehensive map. We're going to become a Class 2 county in 2029. We'll elect an auditor. And quickly, we're going to reach an assessed valuation where we're going to have to go to a first-class county. And I think that's going to happen within the next 5 years. And that means a lot of change for our county, a lot of new offices, a lot of new employees. So we have to plan for that financially. And I feel that's going to be the biggest challenge in the next 5 years, is preparing to be that first-class county.
Thank you. Mr. Minton, what is the single biggest challenge facing Stone County over the next 5 years, and how would you address it?
Well, I think that it's obvious that we're going to grow. And I think that if we work together, we can get ahead of it as opposed to having to react from one thing to the other, from budgeting to infrastructure, housing, affordable housing, and just preparing for the growth. As just like Gordon said, there's no way we're not going to grow. And we just need to be prepared for that as opposed to reacting.
Thank you. Mr. Weathers, if elected, what are your top 3 priorities during your first year?
My priorities will be to finish our planning and zoning reform, that comprehensive map, that comprehensive plan, planning for the future. We're building a new recorder's building, making room for those new employees that we're going to have. We'll continue with those types of things. Our sales tax is rising. I want to see those sales tax that's rising be used for more roads in Stone County. We want to bring them up to a level that's getting rid of some of those potholes and bring some of those roads that need to have that chip and seal or need to be repaved, and make sure that we're spending money on our infrastructure.
Mr. Minton, if elected, what are your top 3 priorities during your first year?
Well, I think some of it has started. I like what we're doing and putting out some fires with planning and zoning and planning ahead. One of my biggest concerns is data centers. I just don't feel like we have a place for them in Stone County, whether it be data centers or wind farms, solar farms that just take a different kind of terrain. And I like the fact that they instilled the moratorium while we figure out how to deal with that in the long run. I think that's one of the most important things we have to be prepared for.
Thank you.
If you want to, so that they're not always answering questions.
Gotcha, okay. All right. I want to ask, in your view, I'll go ahead and start with Mr. Minton for this question. How will you keep citizens informed and engaged in county government?
Well, there's been a lot of talk about transparency, and I do believe in transparency. I don't think there's any secrets in the county that I'm aware of. I can tell you that some of the elected officials and staff have been very helpful to me, helping me educate myself. But I even brought up the possibility of possibly recording, just making the meetings and information more accessible to people who, because of jobs, because of other obligations, maybe can't attend the meeting. And I know the information is posted. Like I said, I don't think there's any secrets out there, but maybe we can make it more accessible to people who can't show up at every meeting.
Mr. Weathers, same question. How will you keep citizens informed and engaged in county government?
Well, that was one of the first things I noticed when I stepped into this position, was I really didn't have a lot of communication coming out of Stone County. So I started Coffee with the Commissioner, and I do that monthly, and I travel around the county. I've done it in the north, central, and south once a month, and I invite citizens to come out, have a cup of coffee in the morning, started some soda socials in the evening to come out and hear what the citizens want. I started my own Facebook page, Gordon Weathers, Presiding Commissioner, when I became Commissioner, so I could start communicating with the public. And since then, we've started a Stone County Commissioner's Facebook page, and just had conversation this morning about updating our website. Our IT department is working on that, collecting, our website's pretty out of date, hasn't been updated for a very long time. So I want to continue this communication that I've started, the back and forth communication with the citizens of Stone County.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead, we'll start with Mr. Minton again, and then I'll go to Mr. Weathers in the next question after that. I would say, what role should Stone County government play in economic development efforts?
Well, I think we should play a major role in it. We have so many sources available to us between neighboring counties and organizations that are available. I don't know why we wouldn't take advantage of all of it. And as a commission, we should work with our other elected officials and lead that charge by all means.
Thank you. Mr. Weathers, same question. What role should Stone County government play in economic development efforts?
I think we need to take a lead. I think we need to have a partnership with the municipalities. A lot of that's already started. I've had meetings with Branson West, and we've talked about how we can take advantage of some of their sewer and water capabilities to bring some housing to the Stone County area that surrounds Branson West. I've had meetings with Kimberly City about a potential park program where we would open back up Joe Bald Park and that would be a partnership. Those kind of economic development things have to happen with our chamber. They talked about they have their own economic arm. Jeremy Goggins, I've had meetings with him. I've had meetings with developers because for us to grow, one of the things we're going to need is housing. And that's going to take a partnership of everybody sitting at the table, municipalities, the county. I think the county has to take a lead and help push and put those meetings together.
Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and start with Mr. Weathers this time. What leadership quality do you possess that your opponents may not?
Speaking for myself, being a leader, I've always known you need to listen first. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. I believe that. So you have to listen. To be a leader, you have to listen. You have to be responsive to the people that you're leading. And I think that's one of the things that I bring to the table is I can work with people, I can talk with them and make them understand my vision and get them to come alongside me. I've always known in my professional career that I did not have to be the smartest person in the room. I had to put smart people in the room with me. That's how I've always been successful, and that's how I'm continuing to be successful now. I've always found if I'm the smartest man in the room, I go find another room to be in so that I can grow.
Mr. Minton, same question. What leadership qualities do you possess that your opponents may not?
I think from my whole career, between being a sergeant in the Army and working with people from that level to being a pastor, working with families and individuals through some of the hardest times in their lives and helping them, navigate forward. But in my time in business, between running my own business to managing others, from training finance departments to developing processes, and to me the process is the important thing, and making a process that people can actually understand and follow. And I think if you look back, you'll find that my work history and my life history qualifies for me, and I've got that experience at the city level already, so I'm ready to step up a notch.
All right, Mr. Minton, what are your views on the current state of the county's finances overall?
Based on the information I have, I think our county's in good shape. I don't think there's any problems. We do a pretty good job with our budget. We're in good standing. I think everything can be improved. I think we can make it bulletproof. And as we move forward, as the growth comes and we prepare for the next step, 2 and then 1, I think we have to continue to move forward and try to be prepared so we don't have to quickly react to something that comes unexpected. And that's infrastructure, that's housing for young families, for all families. That's just looking forward and getting ready for it.
All right, Mr. Weathers, same question. What are your views on the current state of the county's finances overall?
When I was appointed and came in October, we were starting the budget process, and I was really pleasantly surprised at how financially sound Stone County is. We have a really good reserve. They had a good carryover from last year. The commissioners have really done a good job with a conservative budget, and I'm happy to continue doing that. And when I was being confirmed by the Senate, one of the questions that they asked was, how do you plan with the shortfalls that counties are seeing in Missouri? How do you plan to lead your county through those shortfalls? And I saw all these other people being appointed and being interviewed by the Senate. And I said, well, I'm almost embarrassed to say, I said, Stone County's doing really well. We've got money in the bank. We're going to carry over money into next year. We're doing really well. So around the state, counties aren't doing as well as Stone County is doing, and it's because of that conservative budget of the commissioners that have come before me.
Mr. Minton, roads, bridges, law enforcement, and other county services all compete for funding. How would you prioritize infrastructure investments among the other county services that are all requesting funding?
Well, if I understood your question right, based on what I've seen, it appears that our sheriff's department seems to have the biggest part of the budget, and I believe that's needed. The men and women who are protecting us and protecting our property deserve to go home every night to their families, and we need to equip them as well as we possibly can. Road and bridges are, very high up there too, because as we grow, everywhere you go, especially this time of year, you see potholes, and constantly we've got crews out there working and keeping up. And as our infrastructure grows, we're going to have to grow our equipment, grow our crews. Every department in our county has to have their piece of that budget, and we're going to have to plan ahead for each one to grow in order to stay ahead of the plans we have ahead of us.
Okay. All right, Mr. Weathers, same question. Roads, bridges, law enforcement, and other county services all compete for funding. How would you prioritize infrastructure investment among the county's competing priorities?
I'm going to go back to that conservative budgeting. I was fortunate because I've been through the budgeting process, and each of the elected officials bring their budget to us as the commissioners. And the commissioners just didn't do it alone. Your elected officials that are at Stone County, they're all very conservative too. They're watching their budgets, and there's not this one person that just wants all of this money. Our sheriff, for instance, when he came to the table at budget time, he was asking for less money than last year, trying to be cognizant of knowing that there were some other departments that needed things. So I think that's one of the really cool things about the elected officials at our county, is they're also conservative. But as I said before, we need to focus on our roads, our infrastructure. We have over 600 miles of road in the county that we maintain. We take in another mile in the north, central, and the south part of the county every year. So we need to prioritize our roads. We have a sheriff's department and a jail that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And that's a priority. Safety and infrastructure are big priorities for Stone County and the residents. And the other elected officials understand that and see that too. And they work together. It's a give and take to make the budget work.
All right, thank you. I'll go ahead and I'll start with Mr. Weathers. County government does not operate alone. How would you work with cities, schools, businesses, chambers, neighboring counties, and state officials in your capacity as presiding commissioner?
I think it's very important to work together. And again, I've been fortunate to already start doing that, working with the municipalities on projects, things that are important to their cities, to their villages. One of the things, we had a conversation and we've talked with Christian County commissioners and MoDOT road priorities. Christian County has asked for a 4-lane from Nixa to the Stone County line. Stone County has asked for a 4-lane from the roundabout to the Stone County. So working like that with other counties, if we can both put the same road on the road priority list for MoDOT, that's going to move us up even higher to the top. So it's important that we work together. The Chamber of Commerce Economic Development, Jeremy has put together once a quarter, all the municipalities, the county, we all come together, we sit in the same room. One of the things that's come out is Stone County needs animal control. It's something we've not had before. That came out in our last meeting. It's come out from some citizens, and I'm working on putting together all the right people at the table so we can figure out how we can have an effective animal control in Stone County. So those are just some of the things, coming together, talking to the other municipalities, our neighboring counties about what they need, and how we can work together to make those priorities happen.
Thank you. Mr. Minton, same question. County government does not operate alone. How would you work with cities, schools, businesses, chambers, neighboring counties, and state officials as presiding commissioner?
Well, the handy part of it is that as a banker, I already work with a lot of these. We bank most of them. And when it comes to the cities around me and the local schools, I already know who I'm going to talk to, I'm going to be dealing with. And we've been working with them for some time in the capacity that I'm at now. And again, at the city level, we work with our local school. I feel like I've kind of got some relationships in place to help us with that. Certainly I have stuff to learn. When I walk into that courthouse, there are going to be people in there that know my job better than me. And even though they've been very good to me to help me educate myself, and will continue to do that. But I count on the relationships I have and the people I have around me to get me in front of the right people and know the right direction to go with us.
I have a final moderator question, and then we will move on to audience submitted questions. And for this final question, Mr. Minton, pick a number between 1 and 10.
5.
Okay. Mr. Weathers, pick a number.
7.
Okay, well, the number was 7. So, Mr. Weathers, you can choose if you want to go first or second for this last question.
I can go first.
Okay, sounds great. The final question is, as presiding commissioner, how would you ensure that you are hearing from a variety of perspectives and citizens throughout Stone County?
I think, again, that's something that I already started with the Facebook page that I have to communicate the coffee with the commissioner. I think it's one of those things, it's an open communication. I've already started that, and I'll continue that open communication. I made my cell phone public when I was appointed to the presiding commissioner position. So my cell phone number is out there. It's on my Facebook page, and I answer those phone calls. If you leave me a message, if I'm on the other line, I'll call you back. That's one of the things that I do. I helped a gentleman who called me a few months ago, and he needed some help, and I connected him with the right people, and he just called me yesterday, and he said, thank you for listening to, just me, just a small citizen in Stone County. And that's who I'm here for. I'm here for everyone, for those that need a voice, those that need help.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Minton, how would you ensure that you are hearing from a variety of perspectives and from all the citizens of Stone County?
Well, if I think about it, I'm not sure how I could avoid it. The thing is, from my history, you go back 30 years, and that's all I've ever done. I have worked with and represented and been through situations with people from every walk of life, from the CEO to clear to the other end of the spectrum, and that's all I've ever done. Ever since I had a cell phone, my cell number has been public. It's on the sign of my church. It's everyone I've ever talked to has my cell phone number, and I'm available 24 hours a day. You'll find that I answer the phone. I never have not done it. I don't plan to start now. I believe that I am working for every citizen in this county, no matter what you do for a living, no matter who your friends are, whether or not you're my friend, whether you like me, don't like me, I'm there for you.
All right, thank you both. We have got some good questions in from our audience participants. The first one that I will ask, I will have Mr. Minton answer it first. What are the top changes you will work on, and what stays the same?
Well, I'm going to walk in there to begin with exactly like it is. I'm going to see the processes, and I'm going to meet the people that I don't already know. I've got a way of doing business that starts me out with trust. And when we meet and we start working together, I'm going to assume that you want to serve your county too. And the people I'm working with get my trust as we go forward. And I assume they know how to do it and they're willing to do it. And as we find issues that we can improve, we're going to create a process to do it. I guarantee you we're going to make a process that everybody can follow. And from there on, when you have issues, you figure out if it's a knowing problem or a doing problem. Maybe it needs more training. Maybe we need to make a change. And we'll find out as we go. But everybody starts. If you've never given me a reason to doubt your ability and willingness to do the job, we're going to move forward with it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weathers. Same question. What are the top changes you will work on and what stays the same?
I think one of the things that has to stay the same is that conservative budget that I was talking about earlier. That has to stay the same. One of the things that surprised me when I became the presiding commissioner was our services are paid for by sales tax. And that means it's paid for by the tourists that come through town, people shopping at Walmart, the people staying in the hotels, and short-term rentals, that tax. So we have to make sure that we're conservative on our budget because sometimes the visitors don't come. We have to make sure that we have money in the bank to cover those times when the visitors don't come. So I think that's one of the things that'll stay the same. I think one of the things that's going to change moving forward is we're going to start making change. We're not going to do the same as we've always done for the last 2 decades. We're making those changes. One of those changes is we needed that new comprehensive plan. The one we have has been sitting on the shelf since 2013 when it was updated. A lot of things have happened since then. So some of the things that are going to change is we're going to start making plans for the future, and we're going to keep us a conservative budget so we can afford to do it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Weathers, we'll start with you. Do you support law enforcement? And if so, can you demonstrate what you've done, or if elected, what you will do that shows that support?
I do support our law enforcement. I support our sheriff and the deputies and even the other municipalities. I said earlier that Sheriff Rader came to us and he had backed off on his budget from what he had the prior year. I ended up actually pushing for more money. And we gave him more money in his budget. That gave our deputies some raises. The deputies all came to us after a tragedy that happened here in our county. And they asked us for an armored vehicle. And I didn't even have to think twice about it. If we had that armored vehicle, some things would have turned out much differently at that tragedy. And so I worked with my other commissioners. We actually found, we had some federal grant money that came in. We have a nice reserve budget, and we took what was interest off of that reserve budget for 2025. So we were able to buy that armored vehicle for our deputies that they desperately wanted, their families desperately wanted. And so we found that with a zero impact to our budget. So 100% I support law enforcement day or night. If you need something, your Stone County deputies will respond and put their lives on the line for you. And I think we have to make sure they have all the tools that they need to do that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minton. Same question. Do you support law enforcement? And if so, can you demonstrate what you've done, or if elected, what you will do that shows your support?
Well, I think that Doug and a lot of the deputies would vouch for the fact that I support law enforcement. One situation comes to mind. Outside of Crane, there was a fire a few years ago, and my wife sent me up there, and Doug was up there, and the deputies, they had to stay all night. And my wife made coffee and made me shuttle it back and forth so they had coffee. I've got relationships with many of the staff and the law enforcement employees. And I can tell you, I don't know, every Sunday we have donuts at church. And it makes me happy. I get an extra dozen. And whoever's on duty in the morning, they get a dozen donuts. And them deputies are figuring out when they need to hang around. But some of them accuse me of trying to do bribery, but you never know what you might need. But I love our team that protects us and protects our property. And they're like a family. The way they work together. and they've got 100% of my support.
Thank you. We have got multiple questions that address the topic of planning and zoning. I think I've distilled them down to two different questions. So they're both about planning and zoning, but they're a bit different of an answer. So I'll say, Mr. Minton, we'll start with you. If you become a commissioner, we'll have this one and one more. If you become commissioner, what are your plans for making planning and zoning more friendly for citizens?
Well, I can tell you I've run into it in every kind of business I've been in. You know, at the city level, we need to treat our citizens like customers, like we're there to serve them, and less like subjects. It's common, it's easy to fall into. I've dealt with it at the bank, and you know, my team knows that when you come in that door, we're glad to see you. And you can ask around, you'll find our branch sets the standard in customer service. And I believe it's the same way at the city level, it's the same way at the county level, and it's customer service and relationships. That's what builds trust, and that's what makes people depend on you and work with you. Even if they don't agree with everything you're doing, you've got to provide customer service.
All right, Mr. Weathers, same question. What are your plans for making planning and zoning more friendly for citizens?
One of the things when I first came into the presiding commissioner position, I'd never really been to county. I'd never been to Galena and spent a whole lot of time. And one of the things I did was planning and zoning was a problem. What that I had heard, and I went and I met with the planning and zoning staff. I met with the judges that were presiding on cases, the lawyers that were hearing them. I talked to people that liked planning and zoning. I talked to people that didn't like planning and zoning. And one of the common denominators was customer service, thinking outside of the box. There was a culture of no. No. And so what we have done and I have done is we've worked with our planning and zoning staff to think about what can we do. Sometimes a no is a no, right? If it's against the regulations, it's against the regulations. But one of the things that we've really instilled in our staff, and we're changing that culture as I speak, is to take a look at the situation and not just say no, but what can you do? Because sometimes there's another way. Maybe it's not a zoning change, maybe it's going to the Board of Adjustments. But we're asking our staff to do that. We're getting training for them so they have better customer service skills when the people come in and they think outside of the box and think about maybe it's not no, maybe it's you can't do it this way, but here's another way. And that goes back to exactly what that is, customer service. And we're reworking planning and zoning.
Thank you. You can hit the buzzer if you want.
I mean, yeah, come on.
Thank you very much. Let's see. So the second question that still has to do with planning and zoning, but is a bit of a different answer, is what, if elected, what qualities are important for you to see in leadership of planning and zoning moving forward? And we'll start with Mr. Weathers this time.
Could you repeat that one more time, please?
If elected, what qualities are important for you to see in leadership of planning and zoning?
I think it's a lot of the same answer. It's that customer service. It's that thinking outside of the box. It's helping people through the process, not hindering the process. We're in the middle of redoing planning and zoning codes right now. We're getting ready to adopt subdivision planning codes, which deals with lot splits, which is something I heard from the north, central, and south. So we're making those easier. We're making ways that can be done right in the office. If it's a split, and there'll be a checklist. If everything checks off in the boxes, that land split happens in the office, and Stone County resident goes on their way, and they get things done. They don't have to wait 45 days to go before a planning and zoning commission. Making that office easier, creating those super highways, if you will, that when people come in, that the staff, that they're empowered to make some decisions right there in the office when it checks all the boxes.
All right, Mr. Minton, same question. If elected, what qualities are important for you to see in leadership of planning and zoning?
Probably one of the most important things I've learned over the decades is lead by example. whatever industry, whatever ministry. I'm never going to ask somebody to do what I wouldn't be willing to do myself. And it is so easy to tell someone when they come and ask you, this person would like some help with this or they would like that. It's easy when you're sitting behind that desk to say, nope, that don't fit. And I've seen it time and time again. And, if they've got to have that hard conversation, I should be willing to have that hard conversation. If they should be willing to have a meeting, then I should be willing to have a meeting. And I think one of the most important things that we can do as commissioners is lead by example.
Thank you very much. I've got one more question, and then the remaining questions I do feel like have been covered in some form or other by past answers that you've given. I will ask this one more question, and then what I will do, just for transparency and fairness to those who asked, are to kind of read off the remaining questions that were not asked, and then we can kind of see how those maybe fit into some of your previous answers, just to make sure that we honor everyone for asking. So the final question, and we will start with Mr. Minton. What are your opinions on the state amendments on the ballot in August?
Well, I get them mixed up pretty easily. But I need to have them in front of me to make sure I'm talking about the one I think I'm talking about. First of all, on the income tax, I love the idea of not paying state income tax. I love the idea of paying a voluntary tax as I spend money at my will, as opposed to an involuntary tax that they take away before I get to see it. However, I have plenty of concerns, and if done right, I think that can be an amazing thing. But I'm concerned that there are too many opportunities to not do it right, and it could have the effect that we don't want. So I'm kind of on the fence for that right now, to be honest with you. The other one, popular vote, I like the idea of every vote counts the same. The only problem is, I am getting sick and tired of St. Louis and Kansas City making all of our decisions for us. And I think that the idea of having each, region, can't remember what it's called, but I'm not much of a politician, sorry. But every section counts for a vote, I think gives us rural communities a better say in some of these decisions that have turned our culture upside down, and we've got to stop the bleeding on that.
All right, thank you. Mr. Weathers, what are your opinions on the upcoming state amendments?
I'm still on the fence, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've read them both, and I've heard both sides, and I haven't made my decision yet. So I really can't tell you that, but I do know on July 30th, there's gonna be a gentleman that's here, and I can't remember the time. I believe his name is Danny.
Darren Chapel.
Darren Chapel will be here, and he's supposed to speak on both of those, and he's supposed to be very knowledgeable on them. And I plan on being here on July 30th to hear him speak, so that I can make an educated decision on number 4 and number 5.
Thank you very much. What I want to do, the remaining questions are, what are your top 3 goals for the future of Stone County? I feel like we've kind of had the opportunity to talk a little bit about your vision for service. And then again, for each of you individually, was specifically, why do you want to run for this office, or why do you want to replace the incumbent? And I feel like you've both had the opportunity to talk about why you want to run for this office. What we will do, in the interest of time, since it's 6:22, we will give each candidate 1 minute. If you could time 1 minute for each to make their final remarks and to express
I thought they
any
said
thoughts.
it would be 2 minutes.
Oh, is it 2? It is 2. Okay, I'm so sorry. 2 minutes.
I worked hard on this.
There you go. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for keeping me on track. I appreciate it. Okay, 2 minutes.
I already have to read
And
it.
I hope that you talk for 1 minute and 59 seconds. I really do. All right, let's go ahead and I don't have a great way to do this, so pick a number between 1 and 10 one more time. Mr. Weathers.
7.
Okay. What's your number?
5.
Okay, well, the number was 4. So, Mr. Minton, would you like to go first or second?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I borrow your podium
You
again?
can.
I better get the right one in front of me. That'd be all.
You have 2 minutes.
Okay. So when you cast your vote for presiding commissioner, you'll be choosing the kind of leadership you want for our county. I believe leadership starts with listening. Nobody has all the answers, but when we respect each other, work together, and focus on solving problems instead of passing the buck, we all benefit. I've spent my career in business management, sales, finance, and banking, where I've learned the importance of being accountable and teachable from the top down and building processes that anyone can understand. I believe all citizens of our county ought to be treated as valued customers and not subjects. As a pastor, I've learned how to bring people together, build trust, and serve others with compassion and integrity. And through my service as a Crane Alderman and Public Works Board member, I've gained firsthand experience with local government and the responsibility that comes with serving the public. I'm not running to represent just one group of people. I'm running to represent all of Stone County. My commitment is to be accessible, to listen before I lead, to be a good steward of your tax dollars, and to always put the best interests of our county first. And if you talk to people who know me, you're going to find that my history matches my commitment. So the decisions we make today will shape the county our children and grandchildren inherit tomorrow. And I want to help build Stone County that is financially bulletproof, united, and prepared for the future. So if you want a presiding commissioner, who will listen, bring people together, lead with integrity, and work for all of Stone County, I'd be honored to earn your vote. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless Stone County.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead. All right, Mr. Weathers, you have 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
I'm asking for your vote on August the 4th to continue to be your presiding commissioner. I moved here in 1997, and since I moved to Stone County, I have pretty much worked 2 jobs the entire time I've been here. 9 years I was a single father raising a daughter, putting a roof over her head, putting her to school, and feeding her while working 2 jobs. I did that, my hard-earned money every year, paying those property taxes. That was a tough time, paying those property taxes right before Christmas. Do you put another gift under the tree, or do you pay those property taxes a little bit late and pay the penalty? Those are the decisions that a lot of people in Stone County face every year. One of the biggest responsibilities of the commissioners is we set the budget and we write the checks. And every time I sign a check, I think about those hardworking people that pay those property taxes every year and who have trusted me to spend their money. And I think about that because I am that hardworking person that worked those 2 jobs and paid those property taxes every year, all while trying to raise a family and make sure that my kids didn't want for something. So I'm asking for it on August the 4th because I am Stone County and I represent Stone County.